All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you. Although you can't see me because my camera's there we go. What's happening, everybody? If you could pop your cameras on, it's amazing to see you guys. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing week. I want to do something a little different this morning. Hey Joe, what's up, buddy? But why don't we start with some good wins for the week? What do you guys got going on that's good energy and happening good in your life? Mr. Markarian, what's going on in your world, bud?
Well, Ara and I are towards the end of a development deal, and we have 7 out of 8 units potentially sold, and
Nice.
things are happening. Yep, and that's one piece of real estate. And on a personal note, my daughter's in the college application phase, and she's crushing it with she's just a great student, and I'm just excited that she'll get accepted to hopefully many good schools. We want to pick through all of them, not have to decide on a few.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah, put the energy out for the one you want instead of
Exactly.
letting it kind of hit you in the face. Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Mr. Dugan, what about you, bud? It's a good win.
Yeah, so definitely had a good turnaround with the team in terms of reaction to some of the feedback. So challenges and perseverances bring potential opportunities. So that's been really solid. And then on the personal side, I mean, things have been good. I've been able to spend a lot of time with my grandmother. So I actually moved in with her to help take care of her.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, she's 93 and it's almost paying it forward. So she's, she lives in Venice, California. It's not major, but to spend time with her because she helped raise me as a child, it feels like the least I can do to help out.
That's amazing. Congratulations for that. That's the humanity side of it, just really taking time to focus on what's important. So I love it. I love it. Love it. Mr. Rubin, what about you? What's a good win? Oh, I think you're muted, bud. You are muted.
No, my bad.
There
Sorry.
we go.
Hey everyone. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Yeah, so RMC Residential Management Club is in beta testing. It's going really well. We need our tech co-founder to start building a website, Scott Bryan. But he's been occupied. He's launching his summit meeting this week that we're going to. So he's been preoccupied. But yeah, it's going well. I mean, we're finding that every home, no shocker, needs a lot of work done. We're certainly providing value, and I think just our leap of faith assumptions are holding true. So just tough when the world is kind of going a little nuts right now. But for some of us that hits closer to home than others. But
yeah, we're gonna chat about that in a minute here. But I love that. We'll get you guys on a hot seat in the next couple of weeks as we talked about. So, Mr. Shine, what about you? It's a good win.
Oh my God. So Brenda and I went to Joe Dispenza advanced follow-up, which after you do a 7-day retreat, they have a follow-up, which is 3.5 days. Although at the end, Joe was hinting that they're going to expand that to a 7-day advanced follow-up. And it's everybody on this video has to go to Joe 7-day. It is life-changing. It's so inspiring. People being healed of serious diseases right in front of your eyes. Just science is amazing. The whole after the whole thing, you're just a completely different person, and I can't recommend it more highly. It just was just amazing. Yeah. So everybody go. Just go.
Everybody go. Just go.
That's it.
Yeah, we talked about at some point getting an elite group of people, whoever wants to. You and I gotta talk about that, maybe formulate half a year from now or something in the future where we can see it. But I love that idea. So guys, I want to do something a little different today, so just bear with me. Instead of the mastermind principles, I'd love for us to come together in prayer. Whatever source you believe in, whatever it is that you believe in, I think it helps for groups like us to recognize what's going on in our world and do our part, whatever that may be, and send some love. So if you guys could just take a minute and maybe focus your energy. And oh, Ari, you have something?
Yes, please. We know what's going on in Israel. It's horrendous. It's horrific. But let's not also forget that there are places that are happening. They blockaded our south for 9.5 months. They starved and maimed and mutilated and killed and butchered and ethnically cleansed 120,000 Armenians just 2 months ago, a month ago, not like years ago. And unfortunately, we didn't see it on TV 24/7 like we're seeing it right now. But let's not forget there are other people, not just Armenians, a lot of other people who are going through this crap, excuse the French.
No, 1,000,000%. Honestly, that's why I wanted to take this minute and do something different, not just because of this. This is just a reminder, and it's some things are more publicized than others, but it's a reminder that well, you'll see when I say it, but it's not just because of this event. I appreciate that. If stuff is going on all the time, and we live, you know, we all have our own challenges, right? Challenges. It mean nothing compared to what's going on around the world. And, you know, I'd love for us to focus our energy and then from time to time think about what can we do to make a difference. So if we could all just take a minute. Dear Heavenly Father, we give thanks and gratitude for our Mastermind family and group and the privilege and freedoms that we all have and share. We ask that you channel your love and guidance through each of us so that we may lead others to a path of love, prosperity, abundance, and forgiveness. We ask that you send your loving, healing energy to those around the world that are suffering and in despair. We ask for you to guide us and show us how we may help the world to increase awareness so may love move towards peaceful solutions for global challenges. We thank you for the many blessings that we share in health and wealth and love and happiness every single day. And we give thanks and gratitude to you for the privilege of living in America. And finally, Father, we ask that you let the light of this mastermind shine bright so that we may achieve our goals of helping humanity on a global scale together. Amen.
Amen.
That was awesome.
So this things like this, and what I'd love to spend a couple of minutes, does anybody here in Ara, you know, anytime you want to have a hot seat to bring back to light where you are in the journey of helping Armenia, we can do that. Does anybody here have any channels of help that are either being set up or any ideas other than sending our love and energy towards how we may help this? I don't know if you guys, anybody has any channels. If not, we can put it in the group. But I do want to take a minute if anybody knows anything. All right, we'll if anybody does, just post it in the group, and we'll make that publicly available. I'd also love to maybe reconnect on the idea that we comes up from time to time about, you know, using the power of this group to set up like charity channels, not just give once type things, but like invest and give. And I know Greg is a part of that, Ara is a part of that, several of you is like really cracking the code on setting up sustainable long-term pipelines for different charities. So I'll take a note on that, and maybe we can have a sideline.
Brian, sorry for interrupting. I think at the end of the day, because of what we study, because of what we believe in, you can call it God, you can call it whatever you want. Because of that, the giving portion should be our priority, because the more you give, the more you get.
1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. It's something that's a core pillar in this group, right? There's the philanthropic, and it doesn't just need to be money. It could be time, services, knowledge, mentorship, a lot of different ways we can all help. And, you know, one of the things I did today is I went live in all of our groups and just put out a message of that. It's like, start where you are, figure out what you can do. And right now, in times like this, they do a pretty good job of tanking the world's energy through videos and social media. And it's a very dark, negative energy. And it unfortunately, that spins around the globe faster than the good stuff. So my suggestion would be to do whatever we can to throw the good things that are going on out there too, and to try to change the energy. So thank you guys for that. Thank you for allowing me that. A couple of housekeeping items. We do have a save the date for the next elite experience. We'll get details out, but it's going to be March 20th to the 24th. And we will get details out, but I know a lot of you have kids and you need long-term planning. So save the date and you'll see some stuff coming out soon, March 20th to the 24th. Also, we have a masterclass coming up, an impactful masterclass, and this is going to be more for people that you might know. You all have free access codes, and I think Val will put in the chat the access code. But if you see the value of what we're doing here in the Matrix, she's also going to put an affiliate code. If you want to share this on your email, social, if you want to share it with a couple of people, but this is usually like friends and family that are looking at you like, why are you different? What's going on? And it's they may be looking at you from the sidelines. This is a good way to get them to understand the beginning of what we do here in the Elite. So I think it's a great thing. It's like $99 or something. And the affiliate code, if you're so inclined, earns you like 40% of that. So Valerie just put that in the chat. And I'm always excited for those because that's where we get a lot of new people exposed to the information that we're teaching here. All right, so those codes are in there. I'm going to shift gears over to today. We're going to get deep into the science of getting rich, and hopefully you guys are following along. And the idea behind this one, we're obviously studying content together, is just to have this book on your nightstand, and 5 or 10 minutes at night, whatever that is, something in the context of the science of getting rich, and then we can come together and dig a little bit deeper, once a month or every 6 weeks or so. So it was really neat, and I think Michael Shine is the one who recommended we go through this again. So thank you, Michael, because this brought me back. I think I read this, geez, a good 5 years ago, and I read it a bunch of times in a row, but then I haven't read it in a long time. So the science of getting rich brings us back to some of the core basics, and it's funny because it was written in the late 1800s, so it's some of it's a little dated, and the points of view you got to read between the lines, but I'm really enjoying it. So I will start off reading again. Just raise your hand or just blurt out and interrupt at any point if you have a comment or a question or a point of view on something that we're reading. So Wallace goes on to say here, no one is kept in poverty by a shortness in the substance of riches. There is more than enough for all. A palace as large as the capital of Washington may be built for every family on earth. Think about this as we're going through what we're growing. Michael?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. We're talking about all this stuff going on in the world, and Wallace Wattles says that poverty isn't solved by focusing on poverty, and sickness isn't solved by focusing on sickness. And that just really kind of resonated when you were talking before about what's going on in the world.
More now than ever, right? Because now everybody around the world, they're looking at their social media, and you can't help but read something and then you're focusing on it, right? And it can pull you down if you're not careful. It can really pull you down, and we can forget to do our part. And we can either focus on solution or the problem. Like I have a little sign that I made over here. It says focus on solution. Like sometimes it feels like, I know Laura was feeling like helpless, like what the hell can we do about this, And something is better than no thing, right? Even if it's just a message on social media, getting it out there, an email, something, some way, shape, or form to change the vibrational state. But it's true. He says right here that you can build a palace for every family on earth. There's no shortage of resources. There's a shortage of awareness and distribution, right? There's a shortage of awareness and distribution. So thanks for bringing that up, Michael. It says, let's see, in the United States alone, and under the intensive cultivation, this country would produce wool, cotton, linen, and silk enough to clothe each person in the world, finer than Solomon was arrayed in all his glory, together with the food enough to feed them all luxuriously. So the visible supply is practically inexhaustible, and the invisible supply is really inexhaustible. There's no shortage of anything. Everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, out of which all things proceed. New forms are constantly being made, and older ones are dissolving, but all are shapes assumed by one thing. It says there is no limit to the supply of the formless stuff. What is he talking about when he, in your opinion, the formless stuff? Because this is older content.
Ether.
Ether. What is how else can we say ether?
Consciousness.
Consciousness is what we call God, right? It's what moves energy into form. So when they're saying ether, he's
Dark matter.
different ways to put it, but I look at it as energy. I look at, and this is just my opinion based on study over time. That's all it is. There's consciousness and energy, right? And we are a part of conscious expression, or God's expression. We're physically expressing in the form, right? So, but we possess some part of consciousness, and we're raising that consciousness here in the Elite 100 through study of different books, angles, theology, science, religion, like all these different angles. But there's energy, and from energy comes form. From energy came this iPhone. From energy came your families, your houses. Your goals are still in the energy state, many of us. It's our conscious focus plus vibration that manipulates energy into form. And maybe manipulate is maybe some of you might not like that term, but transforms energy into physical state. We have this power, we have this ability. Right? It says there is no limit to the supply of the formless stuff or energy or original substance. The universe is made out of it, but it was not all used in making the universe. The spaces through and between the forms of the visible universe are permeated and filled with the original substance, with the formless stuff. So for me, I substitute energy there. It's just whatever floats your boat. With the raw material of all things, sorry for the broken sentence. 10,000 times as much has been made, 10,000 as much has been made, might still be made. And even then, we should not have exhausted the supply of universal raw material. No one, therefore, is poor because nature is poor, or because there's not enough to go around. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short. All substance is alive with creative energy and is constantly producing more forms. Nelson, you want to take over from when the?
Sure. When the
Sorry.
when the supply of building material is exhausted, more will be produced. When the soil is exhausted so that the foodstuffs and materials for clothing will no longer grow upon it, it will be renewed, or more soil will be made. When all the gold and silver has been dug from the earth, if humanity is still in such stage of social development that it needs gold and silver, more will be produced from the formless. The formless stuff responds to the needs of mankind. It will not let the world be without any good thing.
Can I chime in there really quick? So the part where it says where the soil is exhausted. So humanity continues to amaze me, right? And I look at this as saying, if we ever do exhaust the earth's resources, we will figure out how to go to other worlds. It's already happening, right? There's people that are already spending their life's work. So it's not just, anytime we see some of these concepts, I always try to like the bigger picture. And it's true, we will figure out how to create out in space or move to other worlds or other things. It just kind of triggered that for me.
This is true of humanity collectively. The race as a whole is always abundantly rich. And if individuals are poor, it is because they do not follow the certain way of doing things which makes the individual rich. The formless stuff is intelligent. It is stuff which thinks. It is alive and is always impelled towards more life. It is the natural and inherent impulse of life to seek to live more. It is the nature of intelligence to enlarge itself and of consciousness to seek to extend its boundaries and find fuller expression. The universe of forms has been made by formless living substance throwing itself into form in order to express itself more fully. The universe is a great living presence, always moving inherently towards more life and fuller functioning. Nature is formed for the advancement of life, and its impelling motive is the increase of life. And because of this, everything which can possibly minister to life is bountifully provided. There can be no lack unless God is to contradict himself and nullify his own works. You are not kept poor by lack in the supply of riches. It is a fact which I shall demonstrate a little farther on that even the resources of the formless supply are at the.
I just wanted to go back here a little. It says if individuals are poor, it's because they do not follow the certain way of doing things, which makes individuals rich. What does that mean to you guys? This certain way of doing things,
Abundance mentality.
abundance mentality. And again, right now is just it's a magnifying glass because it's right in our faces. Like most of the world right now is going to be living in a reactive state to environmental stimulus. They're going to be living from the outside in, which is the polar opposite of what they're suggesting here. When they say to do things in a certain way, in my opinion, it's learning spirit, intellect, body, not body, intellect, no spirit, living from the inside out in a responsive state. Always thinking to create instead of looking at what is to think. And these are basic lessons in thinking and results. They have that, Bob has that circle, right? Where it's like most people are looking at results. Well, right now there's results all in our face. And you can feel the global energy, can't you? Like moving like dark right now and just low. To me, I could feel it, which 10 years ago, I probably couldn't. So then it's like, what can we do about it? Right? So individually, we can become the higher, fuller expressions of ourselves. We can remind ourselves not to look at what is, and maybe your current business, your current physical shape, maybe your current bank account. Reminds me not to look at what is manifested, but to go back to spirit and focus on manifesting, you know. And then this here where it says there can be no lack unless God is to contradict himself and nullify his own works. That's a powerful statement, huh? So why do you guys think we are where we are globally with all this conflict? Jan?
It's growth, it's evolution and it's growth. I mean, at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of people that are connecting to this material, which also creates higher awareness, if you will. And that higher awareness shows up in law of polarity as a whole. So, you know, if you think about it, every generation and every group of people will say, okay, the world is coming to an end. It never does, it expands. It always expands. Now there's more abundance of thinking, there's more abundance of everything, and there's also more abundance of lack. So it's our own individual ability to choose what we focus on, just like you're talking about.
I love that. And I saw that Brenda posted a really cool quote in here in the chat. It says, this is from Mother Teresa. I was once asked why I don't participate in anti-war demonstrations. I said that I will never do that, but as soon as you have a pro-peace rally, then I'll be there. Isn't that interesting? Because people that participate in, no judgment here at all, I'm just who I am, right? But anti-war demonstrations, I think they do that thinking that they're promoting peace, right? That nobody does that because they don't have a purpose. I think in their minds, they think that this is going to help solve. But then you see on the news all over the world, you see two groups that think different things. And then some of these peaceful demonstrations turn non-peaceful, and that's just contributing to the chaos, right? Yun?
Just another thing too, if we think about it, right? So there's more people that are going to be reactionary to the news and everything that's going on in the lower vibrational states, but then think of all the other people that are in creative mode, looking for solutions that are creating at a higher level and a higher vibration. And that's what I truly believe is so magical about us being humans, is that this is always going to exist. And I believe in the triangle, like there's a lot less light at the top, but one candle, right? One candle can light up an entire dark room, but you can bring a whole darkness to light and it won't even make an impact, right? So two amazing things that we as humans have the power of. Number one, imagination, right? Our ability to stretch that imagination, especially with the technology and advancement that exists, into what are the things that we can do to create a better now and better future generations. Then the second thing is our ability as humans to make a choice, right? Understanding that where we focus is where the energy is going to flow. What are we focusing on a minute-to-minute basis, on a second-to-second basis, or really what matters is like the now, right? What are we focusing on? Because that's what's creating.
Mm-hmm. No, agreed. Like I said, I feel that this group here is highly, highly aware. There's things that we can do if we come together and mastermind on these things. And that's my hope and wish for this group, that always has been, is to grow and eventually expand globally and have a connection around the world of very high level thinkers that are all philanthropic and looking to impact in a non-narcissistic way. So we're still at the cusp in the beginning of this. We're working with Ivan to go global and to bring our company around the world. But you guys are literally the tip of the sword in my vision of the Elite 100 and having a version of the Elite 100 in every country in the world. It excites me to think about that. Michael?
Yeah, just kind of piggybacking off what Yun said. Joe Dispenza, same idea. He's bringing more people and more consciousness. He had a meditation walk for the world, and I told Yun about it. And next thing I know, she's got 40 people walking with her with sort of consciousness, and it's just there are pockets right now, but I think in answer to your earlier question, I just think it's ignorance, not in a negative way. They just don't know. And so I think as people get more and more through the Elite 100, through Joe Dispenza, through any other channel that has this heightened consciousness, I feel like the world and all this negative stuff we're talking about is just contrast. So it makes people see exactly what what we don't want, so we know what we do want. And I take that as an encouraging thing.
No, I love that you said that. And it's neat that you pointed out like building pockets, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're building pockets of awareness. And sooner or later, if you build enough pockets, they start to connect, right? And I think that's Bob's mission was that. And back in 1962, when he was sitting in a hotel room by himself, he said, I'll have a company that operates in every single country in the world. He did achieve that, by the way. Like a year or two before he passed, it was right near him. Maybe he finally said, I'm good. But they had presence in every single country in the world, which is just amazing because there's a lot of countries that don't have tech, and it's a big achievement. So Bob has created a big pocket, right? And I think, part of my mission, and I think ours here, is to expand these pockets of awareness and through education mostly, and to start connecting the pockets. It's a lifelong journey. There's no end to that. So, Michael, you want to take over from here? Can you read that okay?
Would you say? Oh yeah.
Take over reading from here.
Yeah, absolutely. So first chapter, if you have a cheat code for Science of Getting Rich, saw somebody who said take chapters 4, 7, 11, and 14 and read them every day for 90 days. Those are so if you want to do cheat code, it's 4, 7, 11, and 14.
That is a Bob cheat. I know Bob recommended that too. I don't know if he started it or maybe he got it from somebody else, but that's exactly what it was. It's like, obviously read the book like we're doing here, dissect it, but he said go on a 90 or 180 or even a 360-day brainwashing, really, of 4, 7, 11, and 14. That's awesome.
Wow. Hey, I didn't even know. I got it from Bob. That's so awesome.
Direct download.
Yeah. The first principle in the science of getting rich. Thought is the only power which can produce tangible riches from the formless substance. The stuff from which all things are made is a substance which thinks, and a thought of form in this substance produces the form. Original substance moves according to its thoughts. Every form and process you see in nature is the visible expression of a thought in original substance. As the formless stuff thinks of a form, it takes that form. As it thinks of a motion, it makes that motion. That is the way all things were created. We live in a thought world, which is part of a thought universe. The thought of a moving universe extended throughout formless substance, and the thinking stuff, moving according to that thought, took the form of systems of planets and maintains that form. Thinking substance takes the form of its thought and moves according to the thought.
Just highlighting this for myself too. So there's a couple of things that come up here, and I think we're all at different levels of understanding this. I know these are not new concepts for most of you. You've been through Thinking Results and Lead the Field multiple books, all kinds of things, but really understanding. I look at this from a mechanical point of view, like an injection molding machine. Do you guys know what that is? Where you shoot molten plastic into a form and it cools to become what we call solid. Like this is literally what we're doing. This isn't figuratively. When we project thought energy out consciously into the energy field, it starts to move into physical form. But if we have intermittent thoughts or low vibrational thoughts and get distracted by fear, doubt, worry, anger, low frequencies, it just stays molten plastic. It doesn't solidify, and it'll stay molten forever. It'll never turn into a form. And this is what I think most people miss. But when I see this as like an absolute. Like this is how this works. Thoughts become things, not just a cute phrase. And if the things aren't appearing in our world, it's just a reflection from source saying we need to change our plan, thinking, vibration, something. We're not doing our part of the deal. You know, God's part of the deal is consistent, unwavering, universal laws. Gravity is always going to be gravity. Electricity is always going to be electricity. Moving thoughts into things is a constant. It's a law of the universe in the physical world. It's our part that we need to reflect on in a positive way if we're not seeing what we want to see appear in the physical world. And I say this as much to myself as I do to you guys, because I think we all go through challenges. It's like, wow, what am I missing? Why isn't this yet? Why hasn't it moved into form? Like, what's my part of the deal? So I think it's a very healthy reflection. And I love what Michael said about contrast. It does highlight contrast, right? I don't think anyone here in your world right now has the challenge that some of these people are experiencing today. I could be wrong, but whatever we're calling our problems and our challenges are probably not like your neighbor's house has just got blown up, the people you've grown up for your entire life and they're gone. And that's not a negative thing. It's a contrast. It's an awareness. It's a relative thing. It helps us to minimize what we're calling challenges, doesn't it? And then move towards solutions. So it's super powerful. It says the thought of a moving universe extended throughout formless substance. These are where I pieced together my theories of in the beginning, all there was God or consciousness. And at some point, that entity must have decided to express physically. And then whether it's the Big Bang, but somehow we have the universe, the planets, the stars, the suns, and then human beings evolved. So this is where I get some of when you guys hear me say that. And again, just my opinion based on study over time. Let's see, Mr. Ara, would you mind taking over from holding the idea?
Holding the idea of circular system of sounds and words. It takes the form of these bodies and moves them in as it thinks. Taking the form of low growth oak tree, it moves accordingly and produces the tree. Thought through centuries may be required to do the work in creating the formless scenes to move according to the lines of motion. It has established. In other words, the thought of an oak tree does not cause the instant formation of a full-grown tree, but it does start in motion the forces in which will produce the tree along estimated lines of growth. I think you should highlight that section. That is,
yeah, it's a good one, right? So I wanted to reflect it. What universal law is this paragraph talking about? Somebody's going to get a gold star here. Right? We talk about the 7 universal laws, and there's multiple opinions on that, but
Transmutation of energy.
partially one of, yeah.
Law of gestation.
Yes. Time. Oh, Yun beat up Michael. He's like, ooh, Mr. Carter.
Sorry.
I gotta give it to Brenda, actually. She got it.
Brenda,
Yeah.
high five.
Even God and all the mighty forces, an oak tree, the full-grown oak tree doesn't just appear. It's a physical thing. So therefore it must fall in line with the physics principle of gestation and transmutation of energy. So the energy is always here. The oak tree actually is always here. All things are here, omnipresent in the energy state. It's just when it pops into form and goes back to energy. And then, some of these trees are around for hundreds of years, centuries, right? Some of the bigger ones, they outlive us, so we don't even see it. You never see a tree grow, do you? If you're just standing there staring at it. But if you go to a space and come back 10 years later, holy cow. So we're anything that we're channeling into form, your goal, there's going to be a natural timeline to it. Who here can tell me, how can we speed up time? Trick question. How can we speed this process up? Yeah.
So just a perspective. There is no time. Time is a man-made illusion. Everything exists in the now, and it really boils down to our level of awareness. And when we focus on our level of awareness, we'll realize that the oak tree was always there, has always been there, right? It has always been there. It's not a time thing, and it's so wild because, okay, this whole world that we live in is a journey of awareness of who we are and what we are, right? And the discovery. I just went through something where I had a flashback of when I was 4 years old. And it was one of a very powerful memory that I had in Korea. And in that moment, I was able to recall back to an emotion and certain things that I felt. And again, because I became aware of that vibration, it literally connected all the dots, not even all the dots that I'm able to perceive now of what that vibration created in the quote unquote 44 years of a human life that I've lived. See, everything that we're experiencing is an illusion of our vibrational state of feelings and vibrations over time, right? And that's why, like, I agree, you plant seeds, you have these experiences, and yet what's really profound is that when we put direct energy to it, or we reconnect with that vibration, it grows in different quote unquote illusions that we get to experience in the human form.
So I agree with some of that, but the term illusion confuses people, right? So we are here expressing physically. What my opinion of what awareness is understanding the spiritual state, which is timeless. There is no time in spirit, there is no space in spirit, but in the physical form, we're absolutely experiencing physical time space. Those two principles of physics exist in the physical expression, and we are spirit, intellect, and body, right? So
Yes,
I feel that when we use the word illusion, sounds like we're delusional, like there is no physical expression.
So I love that perspective, Brian. And in my perspective, it's literally our beliefs over time that's been handed over to us that we create the reality that we live, right? And it's the beliefs and the passed down belief system, which is so profound to me, which goes back to show that we can create whatever it is from this point moving forward to whatever generation, like whatever we can imagine is.
I think it's the collective imagination. It's the collective imagination of all these humans expressing is what I think will change that societal generation. So I'm in 100% agreement with that. Maddie was talking to me today, and I won't name which religions, but there's certain religions that's from like age 2 or 3, they start to teach their children hating other cultures, civilizations, races from age 2 or 3, and it's just instant brainwash. And when they're interviewing these kids in their teens and stuff, oh, this is the way it is. My God said so. Just complete manipulation and brainwash, and I think we would all agree in not a healthy manner.
We live in an interesting time in society too, to where, with social media,
yes,
instantaneous brainwashing that takes place with lower level awareness humans, right? I say that, it is what it is, right? But people with lower awareness or lower self-esteem are brainwashed so quickly by the media and by social media and by viral videos, and it instantly there's so much of it that's divisive out there, and that's programming too, right?
1,000,000%. And you know what the challenge is, guys? The people like us here and the people around the world that actually live in a state of love and abundance and freedom, for some reason, we're less vocal about it. We won't go on social media and share on a daily basis like a positive message. We're not egomaniacs. But I would challenge you to maybe start doing that, because that's the challenge. That the people that want to do the things a lot of times aren't vocal. It's not in their nature to stand up on a platform and share messages of love and abundance. But I would challenge you guys to think about that, because the people that want to cause what we would look at as a negative result are very vocal, and they post very graphic things to cause the world to tank the energy. It's just it's an evil, I want to say energy, but I don't know. It's unexplainable. But Michael, and then Ara, you had your hand up too.
So your question was, how do we make things come faster? And
Yes.
obviously we just had Joe Dispenza, and so it's what we learned is that you raise your vibration so that your vibration, you get closer and closer to source. And as you get up there into those higher levels above the speed of light, time and space collapse and become closer and closer until you're at no time, no space, and then you can manifest anything you want in an instant. And also, as part of that is your heart, which has much more magnetic field. Is you have to have the gratitude and pull the stuff into you that you've manifested by putting that thought out there to thinking stuff, and then pull it back with your electromagnetic heart. So that's.
And he also says to do this through meditation, and that he always expresses how important meditation is, because you really get into that deeper level of thought, higher frequencies, closer to source, condense the time. And it's not really about material stuff. It's about the feeling of already having it. So it's amazing. Yeah. So that's kind of the whole time space thing.
No, I love Dr. Joe's work because he comes more from like my realm of left brain metaphysics and quantum mechanics and stuff. And he has a really good way of tapping into spirit. But that's part of it. If you guys want to compress the illusion of time, like raise your vibration through awareness, study, and meditation. That's part of it for sure. Like we talk about resisting resistance, right? The more you do that, there'll be less resistance. And Michael, when you're talking about the heart and the magnetic state, it's really the subconscious mind, the emotional mind, not the pumping organ of the heart, right? So it's the magnetic part of
number 4.
Yep. The magnetic part of us is in the subconscious, and the electro is in the conscious, right? So the thinking mind, the masculine energy, the electro, the intellect is in the conscious. The subconscious, the feminine energy, right? 1,000,000 times more powerful, thought to be much more powerful, is the magnetic. And it's the combination and the understanding of two where as another way for us to have the illusion of speeding up time or closing down time from bringing something from thought to thing. I love that. I think we should all go to a week of Joe at some point here. We have to find out when that is. It's tough to get in on those though. Yeah. All right. I know you had your hand up, Ara.
Yeah, I think you guys are going way too deep into this. I think there's a simple answer. And the answer is Yoon. She thinks she's 34 years old, but she thinks she's 44. So time has speeded up with her in her mind.
I love that, Ara. It is whatever we want it to be. No, I'm serious, right? Like if you think about it, they say that there's technology now and this is a belief system that we can choose to adopt, right? But the even just in America, that the age is going to be a normal age of dying would be like 140. And what else happens? And what else happens, right? Anything that we truly believe is capable of, like, I'm sure, especially in this group, have you noticed, like, you think about something and it's there, like, almost instantaneously, whether you see it, someone experiencing exactly what you thought that could be experienced, or you see evidences of it, right? Because it's not outside of us, it's all one. And I go back to that same thing that Dan Hoover always talks about. Things happen to you, things happen for you, things happen through you, and then things happen as you. It's so wild to me because really, nothing on this planet has ever been created or destroyed. It's literally our ability to increase our awareness and then our choices and decisions into how we want to experience this human experience.
I love that. Michael?
Yeah, so one of the things that Joe Dispenza was the people that were healed. And I think that we think certain things about how long it takes to heal. Say you have some sort of disease, it's going to be 2-3 years, maybe you get chemo or whatever you get. But we actually witnessed a woman who went to the 7-day we went to in Denver after seeing 33 specialists, couldn't seeing double vision, could only eat 6 foods, and went to Joe's Denver thing with her wheelchair, her motor cart, her walker, oxygen tank, and within 7 days she was healed completely. So there was no time for her because that was not relevant. That was just she did the work, and then there's no time unless you, like Yun said, unless you think there's time. It's not. Yeah.
Well, we've grown through centuries and generations of a mechanical age. So what Joe's doing is really tapping into source, teaching you to connect and tap into source, where absolutely, and it's a belief system, right? So a lot of people say, oh, that's not possible. That's their belief system. And this is what Yun talks about too. It's like our belief system is what we're all working on here. What do we believe is true and possible? And just, I mean, don't forget, the entire scientific community globally thought the world was flat forever. Like there's these cosmic jokes, these things that science and technology and our awareness at the time said, this is the way it is. And then the next thing you know, it's not. So we laugh, but think about that. The entire world was convinced that the world was flat forever. Yeah.
And think about what Bob says, right? Just because you have 99% of the population believing in something doesn't mean that it's true.
Doesn't mean it's true.
It doesn't mean it's true. We should all, and this is the thing, it doesn't matter what coach, what guru, what you study, no one knows your truth except you. And that's the whole journey of understanding. Like, how do you know what you know that you've never experienced before? Because it's a feeling. It's a feeling. And that's why, like, our truth is our truth. Like, don't give your power away listening to anyone, right? Use that as a source of imagination to expand your thinking, but your truth is your truth. And what is a belief? What is a belief? All a belief is anything that we choose to give energy to over time. That's it. That's it. And that's why we can understand this at a very high level. But what really plays out in reality is our belief system. So it really goes down to being aware as to what thoughts and what vibrations that we're consistently feeding it.
And that's why I always say to you guys too, from time to time, it's like, this is just my opinion based on study over time. And I want to say this out loud again. It's like, in the elite, we're here to ponder things together. We're not saying you must believe this. Harvest the good and forgive the rest, and in everything that we do, because we don't want to grow into something that says this is the way it is. That's not it at all. We come together from different studies and different belief systems to ponder different ideas and accept your own truth and forgive the rest. Harvest the good and forgive the rest. So I'm glad you brought this up, because sometimes the way I speak in what I feel are absolute truths, but that's just my opinion, my belief system, right? So this is why I appreciate this. This is my peers, and you guys are all studying at high levels, and I love the difference sometimes of opinions, because it does get you to think, and that's the whole point. Kevin, you want to lead us right here, the thought of a house?
Yeah, the thought of a house of certain construction, if it were impressed upon formless substance, might not cause the instant formation of the house, but it would cause the turning of creative energies already working in trade and commerce into such channels as to result in the speedy building of the house. And if there were no existing channels through which the creative energy could work, then the house would be formed directly from the primal substance, without waiting for the slow processes of the organic and inorganic world. No thought of form can be impressed upon original substance without causing the creation of the form. A person is a thinking center and can originate thought. All the forms that a person fashions with his hands must first exist in his thought. He cannot shape a thing until he has thought that thing. So far, humankind has confined its efforts wholly to the whole of its hands, applying manual labor to the world of forms and seeking to change or modify the already existing. Humankind has never thought of trying to cause the creation of new form by impressing thought upon formless substance.
I just want to go back here. So again, when things happen globally that are in our face, No thought of a form can be impressed upon original substance without causing the creation of that form. So this tells me that there's a healthy or an unhealthy amount of collective humans thinking a certain way. The results would say, right? So it's just wild to think about that there's masses of people that are so convinced in destruction instead of like peaceful. It's land wars and stuff, right? Most if not all wars around the world are lands. It's land grabs, right? It's greed and controlling. And there's still, the results would say there's still masses of people that collectively think in a certain way that's not serving all of humanity. It's just sort of self-serving. It's just it's bizarre to ponder and to think about and look at it that way.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, the ideas we're speaking of are really just like the mind, in essence.
Absolutely.
Like to simplify all of this, touching back onto like the brainwashing. Like a lot of people are looking for something to follow. They want to absorb content. They need leadership, but it's just the easiest content that reaches them. Some of the challenges that I have in my organization are that people aren't thoughtful. They're not critically thinking. A lot of the issues that we have with, a wage of religion is their thought is so powerful around their belief system that they believe it's worth dying over, destroying. And there's this very, very bizarre, consciousness where it's either low vibrations or high vibrations. And somehow we need to like shift internally to shift outwardly. Yeah.
Well, I think you really just summed up the purpose of this group is so we have reminders and we get with very highly aware people on a weekly basis to remind ourselves of living from the inside out and shifting that vibration, shifting that awareness, really self-assessing from time to time on what's important, what's valuable, what this all is. And then, like I said, moving towards most of our goals here are to gather energy so that we may help other people. We call it money, but that's really it, right? The age that we live in, an overabundance of money allows you to just really share and do and create and impact. So I think that's the whole point of this group. To be honest with you, just kind of summed it up. Why don't we cut off there? I am going to be on vacation next week. We're going on a cruise for Laura's mom's 60th birthday, so we won't be having an Elite 100. I was going to find somebody to fill in, but then my team reminded me of the fun and recreation bucket. And I tend to just not. It's not that I don't have fun. This is fun to me, but it's very rare that I just shut off and shut down. So we did decide to take a week off of all programs, and my team kind of beat me up on that. So there'll be reminders and stuff, but just next week there won't be an Elite 100. And you guys are always free to obviously get with each other and co-create at will. There's no it's not just a Tuesday thing, right? So I love and appreciate you all. Does anybody have any final comments before we wrap up?
Have a blast.
I will. Thank you so much. Awesome, everybody. Well, I love and appreciate you all. Let's purposefully send more high loving energy out to the world. It's one of the things we can do, right? It's something. And if you decide to get brave and go live on Facebook and share something, that'd be something too. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Be well and God bless.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.